Breakfast Special brings you something extra special today. In fact, something absolutely unique. The first ever final of the first ever Rugby Union knockout competition. Way back in December, 32 clubs started knocking themselves about in the first round. There have been some exciting ties, two cracking semi-finals, and there have emerged two of the most famous clubs in the whole of England, Gloucester and Mosley. They're both steeped in rugby tradition. They've both made a massive contribution to the English cause over the 99 years of their history, and they've both had just about their best seasons ever in relation to the number of matches won. They've also brought along a real cup tie atmosphere. The whole of the West Country seems to be here, something like 60 to 70 bus loads and 3 train loads, and Mosley, not to be outdone, have brought along a big support from Birmingham. They haven't, I'm afraid, brought along very good weather because it's been raining all day here round about Twickenham. The pitch is a bit soft, but the conditions are quite good, and we should see a wonderful contrast in styles with some magnificent players on view, including 6 English internationalists. 4 of those capped players are in this Mosley side. Colin McFadden, number 12, is the only British Lion. There are 2 international halfbacks, John Finlan and Jan Webster. Nigel Horton is the one cap in the forwards, and the pack will be led by John White, the club coach. The Gloucester side, who have won all their 4 previous matches away from home, is a home-produced side. All the players coming from the city or roundabout. 2 capped players only in Burton and Bryn, both of them in the pack. And Dick Smith, the veteran there, at flank forward. The side captained by Mike Nichols, number 2, the hooker. Sam Doble to kick off for Mosley, playing in the black hoops. That's Gloucester with the very large white hoops, playing into quite a stiff breeze. The rain still falling pretty heavily. And the referee for this match is Ron Lewis of Maesteg of the Welsh International panel. The first scrummage, 15 yards outside the Gloucester 25. That's Jan Webster out to John Finlan. Keith Hatter's after that. Hatter number 14. In comes 15. And there's a chance here for number 13 for Mosley, Malcolm Swain. And that really is a great moment for this young former Welsh schoolboy and youth international Malcolm Swain, playing at centre for Mosley and putting them ahead by 4 points to 0 with barely a minute of the first half gone. One of the longest kickers in British rugby. Right on the touchline, Sam Doble, who knows that every little counts in a match of this kind. Doble then, big, long, and straight. The underdogs ahead by 6 points to 0. About a minute and a half over. And here are Gloucester, who are definite favourites for this match. Kicking off through Tommy Palmer. Number 8 forward for Mosley, Big John White, manages to put it into touch. The first line out of the match, 10 yards outside the Mosley 25. The throw-in being taken not by the Gloucester wing, but by the Gloucester captain and hooker Mike Nichols. Knocked back by Ron Morris for Mosley. That's the kind of ball that little Jan Webster doesn't want to have. A little nudge forward, no advantage to Gloucester. They're on the Mosley 25. A good chance here for Gloucester because they've a big hefty pack. There's going to be a lot of interesting things happening in that scrummage, and already there's one of them, a penalty, and there you can see there's been some rough stuff right away, and that's Dick Smith, English trialist. This is the most dramatic situation that it could ever be, because this big lad Nigel Horton, it looks as if he may have been sent from the field. Nigel Horton, who's played 7 times for England. 4 minutes of the match gone. Mosley reduced to 14 players as Nigel Horton leaves the field ordered off. Just just outside the 25, kicking into the breeze. Eric Stevens hooked it. You can see how the wind took it away. And here is a real problem now for little Jean Webster, the Mosley scrum half and skipper, because he's going to be left with only 7 forwards against this big Gloucester pack. Sam Doble drops out, using the breeze to kick it right down to the Gloucester goal line, and that's Mickey Booth touching down. Drop out from the 25, going to be taken by this man Tom Palmer, who's going with the English team to South Africa in May and June. On the Gloucester 10 yards line. Kicking directly into touch. He's tackled and knocked over by John Watkins. Mosley clearly want points in this first half. Back to Mickey Booth. Tough little scrum half. Doble well positioned. That shows you how slippery this Twickenham surface has become. There's been an awful lot of rain overnight and during this morning, and although it's firm in bits or reasonably firm in parts, the fact is that in other parts it's very treacherous indeed. They're 10 yards inside the Mosley 25. Mickey Booth beaten to it by Jean Webster. That's Tom Palmer, the standoff half. Still inside the Mosley 25. Gloucester keeping the game fairly tight. You see those great big hefty forwards like number 3 Mike Burton, the English internationalist. Number 5, this big man Jim Jarrett. To Mickey Booth. To Palmer. There's the dummy run first of all, and it went to Morris. This is good to Alan Bryn. There's a chance of a try. Has he got it? It's a try for Gloucester. Beautifully scored. Alan Bryn, the man who gave the scoring pass. Fine try for John Dix on the left wing for Gloucester. Eric Stevens, the Gloucester fullback, who's scored 403 points so far this season. Again, kicking into the breeze, fading away. But Gloucester have cut the deficit to 6 points to 4. 10 minutes of the first half over. Doble with the kick-off. Driving Gloucester back right over their own dead ball line, forcing them to take the drop out, clearly seeking repossession from their kick-off. Tom Palmer restarts. One of the Gloucester forwards got offside in front of the kicker. And Mosley have made an interesting change in their pack because they're packing 7 forwards. John White, then a big 17-stone number 8 forward, has gone up to the lock position. John White with Ron Morris in the lock position. That's Mickey Booth kicking on. Pick up there by Mike Potter, the Gloucester number 8 forward. But the ball had been nudged in front. This is Jean Webster, number 9, who played in 2 internationals for England this season, is going to South Africa with the English tour party. Webster to Finland. Again, the little one into the space, but Dix had stayed back for it that time and calls for the mark. Dix going right back into his own 25 because from there he can kick directly into touch with this free kick from the mark. Well, of course, he didn't kick it terribly far for distance, but he's got a reasonable position for the Gloucester forwards to attack from the line out. Remember, they've got 8 in against Mosley's 7. Mosley's throw in by Keith Hatter, the wing. It's palmed by Morris. Out to Finland. That's a neat little kick through by Malcolm Swain, the centre. That's Stevens, the Gloucester full-back. Over his own 10 yards line. In goes Hatter. Hatter caught by Stevens. This is just inside Mosley territory, but one of the Gloucester forwards had got offside, I think. Was preventing the ball from being cleared on the Mosley side. Number 1 for Mosley, the young prop forward, John Griffiths. And here's a sight that probably surprises some of the big Gloucester contingent. The sight of Sam Doble trying this penalty kick from almost 6-7 yards inside his own half. Almost straight, post slightly left as he looks at it. It's a kick of about 60 yards. Sam Doble, another huge kick just past the right-hand post. He really can thump a ball, this fellow. The score then staying at Mosley 6, Gloucester 4, at just about 13 minutes of the first half over. Palmer to restart for Gloucester. It's a long one. Webster calling for the mark. And eventually it's John Dix who puts the ball into touch. Number 8 for Gloucester with the big white band is Mike Potter. Very strong player, over 14 stones. It was a beautiful feed to Webster, to Finland. They missed out Swain that time. McFadden couldn't quite hold it. This is Mosley back inside their own territory. Again, slippery ball proving difficult to hold. "15 minutes of the first half over. Mosley ahead by 6 points to 4. Mickey Booth puts in for Gloucester. Nicely held first by Potter. Booth gives it to Potter, his number 8 forward. That was nicely out to Alan Bryn from Tom Palmer. Bryn, the hefty English lock forward, getting almost to the Mosley 25. And that is Chris Morrell, with the sweatband. Big, hefty, tight head prop for Mosley. It was a beautiful catch by Dick Smith. Mickey Booth, this is typically Mickey Booth, strong, powerful, looking for support from his forward. That's good work by the Gloucester pack. See how they left that ball lying for Mickey Booth. Delayed the pass a bit. Dick Smith switches to Palmer. That's the little kick to Doble, who calls for the mark. Gets the kick in just in case. He is a big, hefty fellow, this. He's 6'4", over 15 stones. Looks at times a bit awkward, but he's much faster than he looks, and he's very good at positioning. Doble giving himself room to avoid the charge. That's Alan Bryn, who played in 3 of England's 4 internationals this season. It was meant for Bryn, but it's come back nicely from John White. Out to Finland. They miss out McFadden. This is Swain, the young Welshman. Back goes number 14 for Gloucester, Bob Clues. Not easy to kick really well today because the ball is very wet and slippery. The Gloucester hooker has come into the 5 yards area and allowed Bob Clues to drop right back to the goal line. Defensive position. Dick Smith again. It's a high kick by Roy Morris. Cross goes Keith Hatter. Hatter hounded by John Dix. Keith Hatter here, leading try scorer in England in 1970-71. 41 tries, one of the most prolific try scorers in the game. They're still on the Gloucester 10 yards line. Keith Hatter to throw in for Mosley. Knocked back by Ron Morris. This is Webster to Finland. Out to Swain. Swain looking for McFadden. McFadden, the British Lion. Tackled by Dick Smith. Number 2 at the front for Mosley is Lane, the veteran hooker. And behind him, number 1, John Griffiths. The man with the sweatband is Chris Morrell, the tight head prop. Then the big man, Ron Morris. Morris tapped. Webster kicks. Clues waits. Caught there by Morrell. And it's Mickey Booth who gets his kick in despite being thrown down by John Griffiths. They're on the Gloucester 25. Morris again. Webster to Finland. Finland, McFadden. They miss out Swain's. Goble couldn't hold it. Roy Morris almost got a foot to it. 10 yards outside the Gloucester 25. Number 7 for Gloucester just going down as a breakaway on this side. Dick Smith, they say one of the unluckiest men ever to have been capped for England. Though he's going on the South African tour, or he's standing by for the South African tour. They're on the Gloucester 10 yards line. Potter deflecting it beautifully to Booth. That's a useful one into the space. Back goes Hatter. Back 2 goes Doble. A tremendous bit of follow-up work there by John Watkins for Gloucester, this young flank forward. John Watkins in the follow-up has helped to take Gloucester into that position on the Mosley 25. Hatter throws. Mickey Booth. It's difficult for Doble. A yard short of his own line. He did well to catch it and to make a mark in such difficult conditions. He's been given the mark. He's got to go right back deep into his own in-goal area. Six minutes to go to half-time. Mosley leading 6 points to 4. Sam Doble with a huge free kick from the mark pushes Mosley up to their own 25. Number 6 at the tail for Mosley is Tim Smith, very fast. Opposite him, the other Smith, Dick of Gloucester. Well caught there by Ian Pringle for Mosley. Neatly fed back by Ron Morris. Webster did well. He was in real trouble there. He was absolutely surrounded. It was a neat bit of work by little Jan Webster. Sprat, his teammates call him for, I suppose, obvious reasons. Nichols throwing for Gloucester. Webster to Finland. Change of tactic with the left foot. Back goes Dix for Gloucester. Dix in a bit of a quandary there. I think he was hoping that the ball would bounce over the goal line so that he could touch it down, but it stopped rather quickly and he had to play it. Inside the Gloucester 25. Keith Hatter to throw for Mosley. It's meant to be a peel, I think, off number 4, Ron Morris. Neatly fed out from Lane. Out to Finland. McFadden giving it to Swain on the loop. Back goes Tim Smith. Good drop and kill there by Smith. But the Gloucester forwards, as ever, onto the loose ball quickly. There's the switch to Booth. Cross goes Webster for Mosley. 10 yards from his own line. Harriston hounded by Bob Clues for Gloucester. That's Tim Smith, the Mosley flank forward. Formerly played rugby for Birmingham, plays his county rugby for North Midlands. And Another blow for Mosley as Tim Smith, their flank forward, may have to retire. Mosley already down to 14 players. This could put them 2 men short. Almost into injury time at the interval. Tim Smith with the interval to recover, but it looks like a bit of rib damage. Mosley in real trouble here as Gloucester cut the line out for the first time, 10 yards from the Mosley line. That's Nichols, the captain, to Booth, the dummy back to the forwards. John Watkins, the flank forward, number 6, in possession. That semi had an inspired game against London Welsh when Gloucester beat them 9-4 in the quarter-final of this competition. Roy Kerr throws. Beautifully caught by Ron Morris, but he was half-robbed. Alan Bryn has it. It's Pringle trying to stop him. This is Booth. Out to Palmer. Palmer, beautiful bit of run, 15 yards out. That was a magnificent pass. Morris is going to score. Roy Morris, the man who came into the Gloucester side as a late substitute, replacing the county centre Richard Jardine, puts Gloucester ahead by 8 points to 6, 2 minutes into injury time at the interval. Stevens with the conversion. He looked very relaxed as he hit that one. It's just one of those days so far for Eric Stevens. Nonetheless, Gloucester in a fairly happy position. That's it. The referee's whistle due to blow at any time for the interval. Gloucester ahead by 8 points to 6. Sam Doble restarting. Once again, no change in tactic with the Mosley kick-off. Right over the dead ball line it goes, again forcing Gloucester to restart with the dropout. And as Tom Palmer prepares to drop out for Gloucester, Mosley really having some difficulty in covering the pitch here with only 13 players on it. That's the young prop forward, John Griffiths, on the Gloucester 10 yards line. The big 17-stoner, number 8 there for Mosley, John White. Back leader and coach of this side, great character. Now it is Mosley packing 3-2-1, 6 forwards against 8. Webster did well to get it away. Finland looking for the gap. Mickey Booth went for it. It was Palmer who kicked on. Doble showing that long stride of his can eat up the ground, although he really had to hurry there. Bob Clues following sharply. Alan Bryn again. Well enough known, the English international, vastly experienced, 3 county championship finals in the last 3 years. Dick Smith couldn't quite hold it. John White looking for the block and for the help. Four minutes of extra time at the interval. Gloucester leading Mosley by 8 points to 6. This is the Mosley 25. Bit of bucking there as Mike Burton tries to take his man John Griffiths down. That's a tremendous drive, but Webster doing well to feed his fullback Doble. Dix waits, keep Hatter following. Hatter boots on, and Stevens was back there, but the ball had gone into touch. He'll have to go further up the field. The referee's whistle goes for half-time, and as the rain abates just slightly, Gloucester and their supporters very happy with that situation. The 2 tries to the goal, 8 points to 6, Gloucester lead. And with 15 men against possibly 13 in the second half, they must certainly be favourites. Referee Ron Lewis signals the start of the second half. Tom Palmer kicks off, tries to do a Doble, doesn't quite have the distance. And it's Doble himself who puts it into touch. And here we have Mosley at the start of a long 40 minutes of the second half with really all kinds of problems, especially up in the front rank there, where they've got 6 forwards against 8. There's the veteran Don Lane, who's going to have the job of trying to hook the ball with not as much push as usual behind him. Palmed by Jarrett. The hoisted one by Booth. In comes Doble in his own 25. That was booted on by Mike Burton, the English prop. My goodness, it shows you how quickly Gloucester are up there. You see Roy Kerr, there he is clearing that at virtually a split second in which to get the ball away. Nichols to throw for Gloucester. Could be something on here because Dix, the Gloucester left wing, is behind his centres and ready to come in. That's Alan Bryn driving round the tail, but it couldn't have been straight. Great grafter, this Alan Bryn. One of the great, if I could call him, donkeys of rugby union football. A fella who doesn't show much, not terribly conspicuous, but working all the time. 3 minutes into the second half. Gloucester 8, Mosley 6. Hatter throwing 5 yards short from his own line. Webster in trouble. Mosley took it over their own line and made dead. Gloucester will get the scrummage, and we can watch for a push over here. Remember, Gloucester have 8 forwards against 6. They've got it, they're holding, they're driving, they're going for the pushover. But the referee, I think, decided the ball was just knocked forward in the act of picking up there. What do you do as a Mosley forward except just try and push your heart out in a situation like that? Webster, magnificent bit of clearance work by Webster. That shows the value of speed, of being close to the ground, and of being able to kick from an awkward position. Webster pushing his forwards away. They're still only about 15 yards from their own line. The massive Mike Burton, number 1 at the front for Gloucester. Then Alan Bryn behind him this time. Cowling at the front, Bryn, then Burton behind him, then Jarrett. Bryn palms. Booth flips up. Dick Smith gives it to Bayliss, the big hefty centre. In goes Dick Smith again. Couldn't quite work it clear in front of the Mosley posts here. It's big Mike Potter, the Gloucester number 8 forward. Referee Ron Lewis there has taken charge of this match wonderfully well, in a sense. Since his first dramatic action, Ron Lewis has certainly cut out the hot-tempered stuff, and he's made a much better game of it. This is number 3, Chris Morrell, the Mosley tight head prop. 5 minutes into the second half. Gloucester leading 8 points to 6. Again, that massive shove. Doble touches down. Had the ball touched the goal line, or is it a scrummage 5 yards out? The referee decides that the ball was on the goal line and that therefore Doble had touched down. Doble himself drops out. Webster into the space. Stevens beaten by the bounce. He was a bit unlucky there. And he was hounded and knocked down by John Finland. This is Lane, the Mosley hooker, trying to feed White. Well, there's plenty of fight in this Mosley side. Both of those clubs, of course, with wonderful traditions, great histories behind them. Both of them 99 years old. Outside the Mosley 25. Watch for the Gloucester drive once again. See the Mosley front row trying to get low down so that they can help to neutralise a bit of this drive, but there's no way. That was a massive shove. Nicely out to Booth. Booth missed out Palmer. Gave it to his right wing, Clues. Clues trying to link inside with Watkins. Couldn't quite get it to hand. Bob Clues, the top try scorer for Gloucester this season. This is Palmer, the standoff half. See him get the signal from Mickey Booth. They're only 10 yards out from the Mosley line. Another demonstration of Webster's expertise, his nippiness. Still inside the Mosley 25. Nichols to throw. Meant for Dick Smith. Pringle took it for Mosley. The throw just going a little bit too high for Dick Smith, number 7 there. Not one of the tallest forwards, but with the great standing jump power. That's how close Gloucester have got to this Mosley line. They feel, I'm sure, that another score would be a clincher for them. They got to watch about getting offside. That was a chance for a drive-over try. Almost, one thought almost that the Gloucester forwards were offside when the ball was still in that breaking scrummage. Mickey Booth wanting a much tighter line out. Pringle boots. Stevens, if he picks up this, he might drop a goal. He was off balance all the way. This is Webster. Nicely out to Finland. Finland over his 25, gives it to Hatter. That's into the space. Palmer. Inside his own territory. Tom Palmer. Beaten by the bounce. And this is young Ian Pringle, the Mosley flank forward, who may well have pulled a thigh muscle. Mosley must wonder what other misfortune can befall them as they're reduced to 12 men as Ian Pringle, their flank forward, is carried from the field. Mosley now face 20 minutes with only 5 forwards against 8, down by 8 points to 6 to Gloucester. And if Gloucester were favourites before the match started, and they certainly were, then it would be a miracle if Mosley were to beat them now. But I've no doubt that Don Lane, the veteran there, intends to try, and that his other 11 colleagues will be having a go as well. Mike Nichols, the Gloucester skipper, bursting away at the front, hounded by John Griffiths, the young prop forward. This is Nichols going in between those two huge props of his, Robin Cowling on this side and Mike Burton on the other. 23 minutes of the second half gone. Gloucester ahead by 8 points to 6 inside the Mosley 25. John Webster in trouble as Alan Bryn dribbles on, and Keith Hatter can't quite hold it. That's Keith Hatter, one of the veterans in the Mosley side, record try scorer in England a season ago. They're 5 yards out from the Mosley line. This is Mike Nichols with this lovely battered pugilistic countenance of his throwing in. Bryn palms. Booth nicely out to Smith. That was the crash ball. It was taken by Roy Morris but knocked on. Roy Morris going on to that short pass from Dick Smith. The New Zealanders called it the kamikaze. Gloucester, however, in front of the Mosley posts, 15 yards out. Webster to Doble. What a relief for those Mosley forwards, pushing their hearts out in the scrummage and lifting their heads to see that this fella Doble once again has put them 30 yards up the field. Don Lane, the Mosley hooker at the front. Chris Morrell behind him. Found by Bryn. Hoisted by Booth. Doble waits. The dummy pass there by Colin McFadden. He had no support outside him. Midway between the Mosley 25 and halfway. One wonders now if Gloucester wouldn't be well advised to try to open out a little bit because we've to keep in mind that Mosley have no breakaway forwards as such, no number 8, no flank forwards. Booth waiting, out to Palmer, half held by Finland, good switch to Bayliss. Now this is a big hefty centre, he can go. He's inside the Mosley 25. And it's a penalty to Gloucester. Either a bit of offside there, or getting a hand to the ball, but certainly a penalty to Gloucester, a kick that could seal the match, as Doble is hurt. Eric Stevens, who has scored 403 points this season, with a very important kick indeed, which the Mosley supporters don't like. Stevens for Gloucester. It was almost too wide, but not quite. And that could well be the crucial score of this knockout competition final, because it puts Gloucester ahead by 11 points to 6 with about 12 minutes of the match remaining. Now, can Mosley achieve a miracle? Doble kicks off. It was John Griffiths, the Mosley loose head prop, who got a hand to that ball. Here's the big hefty man, number 8, John White. He's a great character in the Mosley side. 17 stones, leads the pack, coaches the side. Once again, it's Mike Nichols to throw in on the Gloucester 10-yard line. Knocked back by Jim Jarrett. Referee not satisfied that the throw-in was straight and that the advantage had gone the wrong way, and so Mosley opted to take the throw-in. Roy Kerr with the throw. Knocked by Ron Morris. Webster to Finland. They missed out McFadden, gave it to Swain. This is Hatter. Record try-scoring wing. That's the pick-up by Dick Smith. 12 yards inside the Gloucester half. Hatter with the throw. Ron Morris, the big man, is second from the end of the line. See him signalling. That's Alan Bryn for Gloucester, but Ron Morris second from the line, but beaten to it there. Bryn got up high enough. The throw-in by Keith Hatter not quite high enough there to clear Bryn. Referee Ron Lewis, who's taken a lot of credit from that, obviously with a lot of concern here for the Mosley side. Not, I don't mean in a way regarding the laws, but insofar as injuries are concerned, keen to stop any bit of play that might result in another injury. Penalty for, I think, barging through at that line out. Doble with a tap penalty. Finland going to come inside. Doble boots up to the Gloucester line. Stevens in trouble. There was a good bit of following up by Roy Kerr. Now Gloucester are only ahead, remember, by 5 points. 11 points to 6 they lead, with about 10 minutes of the match remaining. A try and a conversion would do it for Mosley, but they can't get the ball. That was Dick Smith in the standoff position. You see how Gloucester outnumber them all the way. That's Bryn again. Ball had been knocked forward. Sure, Mosley feel if they could just produce one good, tidy, clean heel, they might be able to manage something. But there again, you see no scrum half can possibly live with a ball coming back to him, retreating like that. That's Palmer pushing Gloucester up to halfway. Tom Palmer, who's had a little bit of difficulty with his hands, captain of Cornwall, but a lovely, useful kick for Gloucester. Nichols to throw in. John White won it at the back. A miraculous catch by Webster. Out to Finland. Stevens is having to turn for this one. That was a wonderful kick by John Finland. But the miraculous bit was the catch, and he would admit it, by his partner, Jan Webster. The halfway line. Nichols throwing. Mickey Booth directing operations as always. Ron Morris winning it. Webster to Finland, to Swain. McFadden on the scissors. Stevens well positioned for that one. Cross goes Doble. And that once again is the Mosley 25. First man up there to the line out was veteran fullback Eric Stevens. Gloucester have withdrawn their wing forward John Watkins. He's gone to the right wing. It's released their right winger Bob Clues, who's in as an extra centre, but once again it's Finland to McFadden. Doble was in the line. There's a chance here for Dix, and Hatter beats him to it. Keith Hatter's pace there, although he's 31 years old now. That saved Mosley. It's still 11 points to 6 for Gloucester. Doble drops out, Lane goes up. Ron Morris prepares to dribble away. See what a big fellow this Ron Morris is. 6 feet 5 and a half, 16 and a half stones. Gloucester, 8 forwards packing against 5. Their own Putin. Booth, Smith, interception by Hatter. Can Hatter go past Stevens? Keith Hatter, who scored 41 tries, top try scorer in Britain in 70-71, would gladly have given half of them, I think, to have got clear away for a try just now. 11 points to 6, Gloucester lead. About a couple of minutes of actual time to go. Jim Jarrett waits at the line out. It's taken by Nichols. And here again, John Webster, who's had this absolute frustration of knowing that he can't expect decent scrummage ball in this situation. 5 forwards against 8. And yet somehow getting it out to Finland. It was young Swain. Picked up by Dick Smith. Gives it to Watkins, the other flank forward. They're 10 yards out from the Mosley line. Amazing how Mosley are managing to keep their line intact. I think really part of the reason is because Gloucester aren't quite stretching them far enough by moving the ball about the field a bit more. This juggernaut pack keeping Gloucester attacking. Palmer with the drop goal. That could be the clincher. Tom Palmer puts Gloucester ahead by 14 points to 6. We're almost time up, we're almost into injury time. And that surely must be the final death blow to Mosley's hopes. A gallant Mosley side who fought against all kinds of handicaps. The Mosley 25. Hatter throws, palmed by Ron Morris. Through goes Jarrett. But there was an offside decision, I think, against one of the Gloucester forwards. Now is Webster going to run it? He's got to, I think, out to Finland. Swain. It was Ron Morris going through. Down goes John Griffiths to hold it, but again, the ball knocked forward. And this could well be the last scrummage of the match. 4 minutes into injury time. What could be the last scrummage of the match in front of the Mosley post. Mickey Booth. He's dropped it. No wonder he's pleased. The second drop goal of the match for Gloucester. They've won this match as the referee's whistle goes for no side. Gloucester winners by 17 points to 6. And the first winners of the Rugby Union's knockout competition. Tremendous supporters here, great vast number who've come up from the West Country to support this Gloucester side. The Mosley crowd, of course, highly disappointed, perhaps a bit critical in that Gloucester played a very tight game, a somewhat 10-man game, but clearly it's been effective. They've won by 17 points to 6, and yet Mosley have taken great honour from the match, scoring 1 try to Gloucester's 2 tries. And those fellas going in now from the Mosley side can be delighted with their performance, if not with the result. Mike Nichols, the Gloucester captain, receiving the plaque from Dr. T.A. Kent, President of the Rugby Union. Scenes of tremendous exultation and joy here for the West Country, because Gloucester, of course, have added the knockout cup final competition to the county championship that Gloucestershire won earlier in the season. Gloucester absolutely thrilled and delighted at this victory, their 37th win in 49 games this season. They've retained their proud record of winning all 5 knockout games away from home. There'll certainly be some elvereels tucked away in celebration in Gloucester this evening. We certainly hope you've enjoyed this look at the knockout competition. That's another rugby season almost tucked away as well, but not quite. The finale will take place here at Twickenham next Saturday. At the finals day of Middlesex Sevens, Rugby Special will be there. Hope you can join us.